We try to establish at least a small part of what does it mean to be a king of Am Yisrael. King of Am Yisrael does not have friends, does not have people he just hangs out with. You're not going to give him a high five unless you're his chavruta, because you're a giant gdolado, huge tzaddik, kadosh, full of Torah, you know the entire Torah back and forth. And people simply don't understand that Mashiach is a king. And not just some person that's going to fix your financial problems and health problems and every other mental problem that we have. It's just a common mistake that's being made today, because they've made songs about Mashiach. They made dances about Mashiach. They made all types of things about Mashiach, to the point where we forgot what is actually Mashiach. Even though the Torah talks about what's actually going to happen before Mashiach. How there's going to be major disasters that are not necessarily going to be so exciting. To such an extent that the Gdolim, the giants, said over and over again, I want the Mashiach to come, just not while I'm alive. So if the living Sifrei Torah of Am Yisrael was scared to see Mashiach and what's going to happen before him, it's needless to say that we should be as well. Scared in a sense that a person should be scared into doing tshuva. Not scared in the sense of, oh, I don't want him to come. You have to want him to come, but that means that you have to do something about it. But the point is that to be a king, to be in a position of power, is no picnic. Because the Rambam writes in Chot Melachim, I believe it's at the end of chapter 5, that the ultimate purpose of the Melech, the ultimate purpose of the king, is to sanctify Hashem's name and bring more Torah to the world. That's the ultimate purpose. That is all the horses, all the wives, all the money, all the weapons, all of that stuff is for the purpose of sanctifying Hashem's name and bringing more Torah to the world. This is the reason why the Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin says that at one point Hashem decided that Chizkiyahu HaMelech was going to be Mashiach. He decided in Shamayim, he says Chizkiyahu HaMelech, he's going to be Mashiach. Why? Because Chizkiyahu HaMelech took his sword, he was a king, took a sword in front of all of his people, millions and millions of people, stuck it into the ground. He says, whoever doesn't learn Torah is going to get the sword instead. Well, not sword you're going to hold, you're going to become a soldier. Sword meaning I'm going to chop your head off. Now you guys think I'm exaggerating with the chopping the head off part. Halacha in the Rambam is the only way that the king kills people is by chopping their head off. Unless it's a massive killing. Unless there's a bunch of, Dor Kasutos, Yonatan Levi's, Dweck, Goldberg, and all of the Reshaim in the world. Unless he has to kill all of them one day, then he can hang them. And leave them out there for as long as he wants. Not like the rest, the Bedin, when they kill somebody, they have to bury the body the same day. Because it's the creation of Hashem and so on. But the king, above the law. If he kills a bunch of people because they're Reshaim, he can hang them and leave them out there just to bring fear to the people. Bring fear to the people. Mash, this is halacha. And the Rambam is halacha in Chut Melachim. But if it's a one person, only way allowed to kill is by decapitation. Every single thing has a reason. But the point is, Rabotai Yekarim, is that the king is not a jokester. He's not a regular person. He has to use all of these tools in order to bring more Torah to the world. And Chizkiyahu HaMelech used the tool to the best possible. He said, if you don't learn Torah, I'm going to chop your head off. Not if you don't learn Torah 15 minutes a day like Yaron Reuven is going to say one day. 2,500 years from now. No, if you don't learn Torah all day, go in the kollel, don't leave. Live there. To such an extent that they said in his generation, little kids, little children, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, knew the entire Mishnah by heart. Today, Alvai 60-year-olds will know half of it by heart. 10% of it by heart. 6-year-old kids knew the Mishnah by heart. The entire Mishnah, the entire oral Torah, they knew by heart. To such an extent. I was looking at the Rambam today, And I don't really think people truly understand what it really means to be the Rambam. This is only 900 years ago. This is not even the generation of Chizkiyahu. This is not even the generation of Moshe Rabbeinu. This is Rambam Kodesh Kodeshim. Moshe ad Moshe lo haya ke Moshe. From Moses to Moses, there was nobody like Moses. But the point is that still, we know that there's every generation is lower than the one before it. But I was looking at the Rambam, and the Mishneh Torah, the Yad Chazakah, the Rambam, what we call the Rambam, he didn't write it with a computer. There was no internet to look stuff up. In fact, there was almost no books either. Because even if there was a book, let's say there was a Gemara, not everybody had an art scroll set sitting in their library collecting dust just because they were able to afford $2,000. Oh no, they wanted to have the cheaper Hebrew version for $500, and they were just sitting there. Not everybody had such things, such luxury. In fact, most people did not. If you wanted to learn a certain book, you had to go to a rich person's house that had many books, because he had much money, and he made a section of his house into a Bet Midrash, and he had many books, and you had to go to his house and sleep there for 6 months until you finish the book. You can't can I borrow this book? No, it's not a library.